Hello world, I'm an average Joe and I play games, and welcome to Destiny Deconstructed, where I break down the technical aspects of the game. And today we are going to be deconstructing one of my personal favorite weapons in the entire game, and that is the Thorn exotic hand cannon. So let's get into it. So Thorn is a very, very good weapon. It is well suited for both PvP and PvE play. It can shoot through its 9-round magazine at 132 rounds per minute. Your base aim time with Thorn is going to be 240 milliseconds, and with the snapshot perk selected, that reduces down to 160 milliseconds. And one of the things that makes Thorn so good is its exotic ability, the lingering damage over time. So once you unlock this, the Mark of the Devourer, your rounds will overpenetrate targets and will cause lingering damage over time. You'll have 5 ticks of damage for varying amounts depending on whether you're in Crucible or Iron Banner or the level of your enemies, but you will pick up a lot of extra kills in Crucible with this, and you will deal lots of additional damage to bosses, and it will allow you to finish off adds quicker if one precision shot doesn't kill them. An additional advantage of this perk is that it will keep Major's shields down while the damage is ticking them. The swap time for Thorn is 440 milliseconds to swap into it and 720 milliseconds to swap out of it. Like most exotics, upgrading Thorn is an expensive proposition. It's going to cost you a little over 6,000, closer to 7,000 Glimmer, 56 Helium, 57 weapon parts, and an exotic shard to fully upgrade your Thorn. Next up, we have reload time. So the base reload time is 3.08 seconds, but if you reload cancel, you save yourself a full second off of that reload time. I recommend always reload canceling with Thorn, except when you're running the speed reload perk. So if you have a pair of gauntlets that allows you to reload hand cannons faster, that's going to drop your base reload time to 2.32 seconds. And reload canceling is going to be, on paper, blazingly fast at 1.64 seconds, but when you add in the cost of the sprint animation, the difference between the base reload with the speed reload perk and reload canceling with the speed reload perk is nearly imperceivable. So I would only recommend reload canceling when you are not running the speed reload perk. And if you don't know what reload canceling is, reload canceling, it takes advantage of the time that it takes to do the actual reload animation versus the time it actually takes to reload your gun. So as you can see right here, my weapon has completely reloaded. You can see I have 9 rounds in the chamber again, but the reload animation is still going on. So as soon as you see that bullets in the chamber go up to 9, you can sprint forward quickly or try to swap from one weapon to another quickly, just kind of, YY on Xbox or triangle on PlayStation, and that will cancel the reload animation, and you will ready your weapon faster than if you let the entire animation complete. Over time, you'll get a very good feel of this, and you won't even think about reloading your weapon any other way as you use this weapon more and more. And in normal Crucible, you're going to get 84 damage for a headshot and 56 damage for a body shot, and damage over time is going to tick 5 times for 7 damage each. Now in Iron Banner, this is all different because Iron Banner depends on the armor and your level, and so your results in Iron Banner will vary, but in general, Thorn is in almost all situations a 3-shot kill weapon because of the damage over time. Even with the getting 3 body shots, you're going to be very close to taking out almost all Guardians except maybe a fully armored Spect Titan. As far as recoil pattern goes, Thorn has a really nice straight vertical recoil with very little left or right wobble. And this is with firing as many shots downrange as you can. Being a semi-automatic weapon, you can pause just a little bit between trigger pulls and allow the weapon to recenter, and you will have very precise shots every single time. But if you are sending shots downrange as fast as you possibly can, you want a perfectly vertical recoil because then you can aim kind of upper chest area and then allow the recoil to walk the gun up into getting precision shots. With the Send It perk, this reduces the severity of the vertical recoil. With the Perfect Balance perk, you would think that it would help out better than it does, but it does produce a very tight grouping, but it adds a slight pulling to the right, which I don't really like. So I use the Send It perk with my Thorn, which also has the added bonus of somewhat offsetting the recent range nerfs to hand cannons. Now, one of the downsides of Thorn is what you have to go through to actually obtain it. You have to first get a Vanguard Mentor missive. In order to get that, you just have to turn in a bunch of bounties. Go and do your bounties every single day, do Crucible bounties, do Vanguard bounties, and you will eventually get a random Vanguard Mentor missive drop. And sometimes it will give you the option to select the Light in the Dark quest. You select that, and you have to go through these 7 steps. You have to complete a Summoning Pit strike. You have to get 500 points by killing Hive. And it has to be Hive on the moon. You have to earn 500 points in Crucible by killing Guardians with void damage weapons, which this could be somewhat easier if you're a Void Walker or maybe a Defender Titan, but it's going to be much harder for Hunters. You have to then spend a Mode of Light. Then you have to run around and talk to some people, and then you have to kill a special wizard boss in a special instance of the summoning pit strike, and then you finally get to claim Thorn for your own. You only want to do this quest once. It is definitely one of the harder things to complete and to grind for. Do it once and then let Xur upgrade your Thorn after that. Another cool little interesting thing about Thorn is it actually doesn't shoot bullets. It shoots these little spikes that will stick in the ground or stick in a wall if you miss an enemy, which I think is kind of cool. You know, it gives it a unique feel to it, and Thorn definitely feels more like an exotic weapon than some of the other exotics just because there's nothing else in the game like it. And lastly, let's talk about what class setups best suit Thorn. Well, Thorn is so good, you can slap it on any class setup and it's going to do very, very well. I suppose you could create a damage over time themed class. Radiant Sunsingers would be a good option for this, where you can select your Viking Funeral and deal damage over time. You could also probably do this with a Hunter Gunslinger because there's a couple of burning effects that you can deal on enemies with Gunslinger as well. But it's going to be more gimmicky. I'd rather just put more bullets into my target. One thing that you can do to take advantage of the damage over time, I already mentioned the shields of Majors. You get a Thorn shot on them, and their shield will stay down as long as the Thorn shot is active. So one of the things that I like to do is get particularly bosses like Omnigul, get a shot on her, and then switch to my sniper rifle and snipe at her a couple of times, or my rocket launcher and launch a couple of rockets while the damage is ticking, then switch back to Thorn and get another shot on her. Another thing to remember about the damage over time is that it only counts, or the damage only ticks from the last shot that you put on the enemy. So you can't shoot 9 shots and get 9 damage over time effects stacked one on top of the other. That would just be way too powerful. It will only start ticking from the last shot that you put on them. So one thing that you can do against large slow-moving bosses, as you can see me doing it right here, is that basically just alternate. Get a shot on with Thorn while damage over time is ticking, switch over to your sniper, get a couple of shots, and then switch back. This is going to maximize your damage output by letting you always be inflicting damage on the enemy using the damage over time from Thorn. I like to do this on large, slow-moving bosses. So Valis Tarok is obviously a good candidate. Fogoth is a good candidate, and Nexus is a good candidate, particularly because these enemies, they fire very rapidly and can damage you very quickly once they target you. So Thorn really shines against those bosses in those boss fights because you can get a shot on them and then retreat under cover while they're shooting at you, and you're still dealing damage. The last thing that I'll mention is that Thorn's damage over time effect will damage phalanxes even if you shoot them in the shield. So Thorn also is good against Cabal enemies in any context because I don't know about you, but phalanxes are one of the most annoying enemies to fight in the entire game. So I usually take Thorn with me when I have to do a Cabal strike or a Cabal daily mission. Well, there you guys have it. Everything that I know about Thorn, everything that I can tell you. This is the first exotic weapon review that I have done. Hopefully you guys like the format. This video took me so long to do. It took me between 8 and 10 hours to do. I really hope you guys like it. Leave a comment down in the comment section below if you would like me to change anything about the format, and also leave a comment in the comment section below what weapon you would like me to do next. And if I have it, I will review it. Follow me on Twitter, subscribe, do all that good stuff, and we will see you in the next game.